that you used in either. This is like an extra thing.
Yeah, man.
Go for it.
Oh, me? All right.
You. Go for it.
I'm going to share the screen. Sharing. You will see the PowerPoint now.
Yep.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I'll jump straight into it. So yeah, I was just going to give an update of this month, and I used last month's slide just as a prompt for myself, just to see what we've done since the 27th of last month, and we've just progressed through the next gen and Landcare Soils. We've got the reporting now. It's in draft, and we'll be getting it to the website soon. It'll just be coming through the next week as a finalized version. And I was just picking out some key things to talk about, which was the engagement happenings, the soil reporting, and the particle size testing that's to happen. And also the ultimate goal is to get toward a business case for the secondary parties that we're looking to have a partnership with for subsurface drip irrigation. So with the soils reporting, I guess I've just got two samples there. It's basically just showing the division of the older and the younger soils. The older soils are the granular orthic soils, and the younger soils are in the yellow area that I've sort of shaded down. That's the allophanic soils there. All soils for this project are good. There's use in all soils. It's just that you sort of have a primary soil that you really want to target for the most the better water hydraulic capabilities and nutrient uptakes. So with the work with Malcolm from Landcare, is able just to give an expert analysis of the soils, which we basically knew, but it's refining down some select sites. So with the, say for instance, we've done 14 core samples of 3 sites where I've got the question marks, and we're going to go down to 4 for some more finer analysis, which informs some modelling, hydrous modelling, which is what's needed for NES subsurface drip irrigation.
Steve,
yep.
I'll just ask a quick question. That granular or thick soils, evidence of perching, that's impermeable layers within the profile, is it? So you get the water perch above it?
Yeah, so that's what they're basically looking at. The K saturation shows the ability for water to travel down to saturated soils vertically. The other side of it is if it hits if it's lessened and there's evidence of perching, it just shows that it goes laterally, so it goes along and it mounts up. So again, with the analysis, it's just shown there's just some things like the mottled colouring there shows that there's been perched water there for a lot of the time.
Yeah. So is it impermeable clay layers that we're getting that's causing the perching?
With the volcanic ash from that's the older one that's older than 50,000 years, there's a clay skin.
Yeah.
And it just means like with the subsurface, I've put on that picture, I've shown the subsurface drip irrigation depth, which goes down 30, which is in the 30 centimeters, which is in the root zone. There's still usefulness in the summer, but when things are growing, etc., it just becomes in those marginal areas outside of the summer, it gets more, it becomes more difficult.
Yeah, just a quick one, just in terms of those impermeable clays, have we, I don't know whether your soil expert will think, I believe gypsum is a good breakdown of clays. If it's cheap and you wanted to extend the permeability of the soil, could you add gypsum to the reclaimed water, a gypsum type product, to increase the permeability of the soils? And has that ever been done anywhere? Is that a good cost benefit? You know, you get more through the soil, so you don't mind dosing a bit of cheap gypsum if it's cheap, and etc. as a dilute. I don't know.
I'm not sure how the gypsum is. Does it dissolve? What is it? Dissolved solid?
Well, you put gypsum on soil to break down the clays to help the permeability generally.
Yeah,
so it's just a thought. I don't know. It's just
common
it's a question.
Yeah, Ian, you're right. It's common usage. It's the basic nature of the calcite, and the gypsum counteracts the acid soils, so it does neutralize them. I've never heard of it being used as a sort of water additive, though. I'd be interested to find out.
Yeah, that's what I was just thinking. It's a bit innovative, and if you could put it into the reclaimed water when it's applied, and then it therefore actually sort of lubricates the soil to make it more receptive, that's actually exactly what we want. I don't know whether it's been done before, but it's just a bit of a funny one. Anyway, shut up. I'll shut up and get on with this under 10 minutes.
Hey, Ian, you don't shut up. Any ideas is a good idea.
Yeah, sure.
No, I'll bring it up with those.
Okay.
We're meeting with the experts soon. Like
Yeah.
I'm having a Zoom with them, so I'll ask
Yeah, cool.
that
Thank
one.
you.
Yeah. So I'm just working through it with the engagement. Still really just working with distributors, some reporting, and we're just working through the good faith discussions. This is ongoing. We're bringing in other people from council who are really are excellent and just safe pair of hands, which is Michelle from the property team, just to work through the legal stuff. And again, also talking with other parts of council, think about growth and any integrated joint use. So haven't got the blinkers on with this one, really thinking about best for Raglan and if there's any things that can accompany the growth, like parks, fields, etc. Can we work together on it? So not forgetting that out of the equation. Particle size testing is what's needed to at the back end of things, like the drip irrigation is through nozzles. You could have the right the right treatment occurring, or a treatment that works with the nozzles. So that's been on hold a little bit, but it's all planned to do that particle size testing through uni and the Hills lab. And then present business cases where we are. Oops. When we're getting to, I can't. Yeah, again, it's at the moment we just need all sites are useful because there's the minimum we need for the nutrient uptakes is the 24 hectare for the present. So still we're just going forward with that as the figure in mind. Cool. So that was what we're doing, and we'll continue this month as we can. I'll go to the next slide. Again, this is the second part of it. It's just talking about. It seems like a bit of a marathon, the discharge stuff, and it is, but it's the right way to do it. We've learned from the mistakes of the past. We end up just going around in circles with court mediated assistance, etc. But we're not taking the eye off the ball of what our present responsibilities are and things that are working up to it. Like, for instance, the TSS, which has been something that water managers have been working through with Raglan for many years. So it started in 2015 with a day pond construction. That's the tidal pond that fills and lowers twice a day. The thought behind there was that the bigger pond had too much retention and allowed the algal growth to occur. So that was the first action. Again, it was still working alongside the water managers working alongside WRC needed better solution finding. So the design phase started for a TSS membrane. That was when Karl Pavlovich was water manager, and again it was in 2018, and there was decisions made and LTB fundings put aside for this piece of infrastructure. Again, it's sort of at 2019, we were just getting into the consent optioneering, where there was an option that hadn't been discounted, and it was the 100% to winter flow, 100% to land, including the winter flow, which had storage. You wouldn't need any TSS removal for such an option. Again, it was very early days. We've gone through this heaps now. We know that the areas starts becoming fanciful. So up until even with the 2019, it was still necessary to pause it to ensure that there wasn't a stranded assets scenario. But to the present day, the project leaders, which Sharon etc. Have satisfied that there's no possibility of a stranded asset scenario for whatever solution we have. There will still be a period of time where there's going to be some discharge to water, and there's consenting responsibilities in partnership with WRC to consider about how to resolve any TSS problems. So the thought is to enter the design phase to consider what is the best practice for the existing responsibilities and also for the upcoming consenting project. So earlier it was all eyes on TSS or membrane. Now there's also microfiltration that can be considered, and there's construction LTP budgets being made available soon. So it's time to get going with that. And again, this is I've put the screenshot that shows what the levels come down to for the TSS removal with the new infrastructure would be around the 12 nanometer pore size, and it's just an advanced treatment. So the next steps for this is just continual upgrades through to the, I've got all the acronyms here: WRC, the WD, the councillors, ELT, Water Governance Board, and the regional, the Raglan Community Board, and also the wider community through this forum. So that's committed to do that.
Good question, Steve.
Again, are you? Yeah.
May I ask a question? We've talked about in the past the day pond and the suspended solids increasing through the day pond. We talked about having a sample pre-pond and post-pond. Has that been done? Because we've talked about that a number of times. I'd really like to know whether we've confirmed that, because pre-pond almost is our final treated or reclaimed water quality and a representation of what the current treatment plant is doing. Have we got that sample point moved or included?
Pre day pond.
Because when it goes to the day pond,
pre day pond would
it picks up stuff. It's picking up TSS. It's picking up algal growth.
Yeah, the in terms of having a study done from the bigger anaerobic aerobic ponds, and then have another one at the day pond, I don't think that has occurred. What has occurred is just the real giving it a tickle up birthday in the day pond to make sure that it's been cleaned out, and that's set with the operations. The production manager to do that. So the thought that it was picking up gunk in the day pond, that's sort of counter to what the day pond's purpose is. It's to have a lesser retention of it goes through the system quicker, and it goes in and out quicker. It's the time of growth, even within that 12 hours, algae can still grow. So it's trying to just do that immediately. I don't know what the other option is, to put a roof over it. That's something that could be something to occur.
I think Ian's trying to get at, do you know for a fact that there's no influence of the day pond on TSS? What comes in is exactly the same quality what goes out, or is something happening in that day pond? Is it enough? Is that 6 or 8 hour period while it's sat there in the sunshine enough to generate some algal growth?
It's
I get that.
It's Sharon here. I can probably contribute. We've done one test, and it did appear that the day pond was where the TSS developed from our 1 days of sampling, but we haven't done enough sampling, to be fair, to say that was for all the time. So we probably need to do some more sampling as well.
Yeah, I think, Sharon, that's why I was following this up, because we mentioned it in a governance board maybe 1 or 2 ago, and I just wanted to make sure we're doing it in case we get the question from the governance board again.
Yeah,
so
we've done it once, but we need to do it again.
Yes, please. Yeah, if we could, that would be fantastic. Thank you. Sorry again.
All right, no, that's good. And you just keep interrupting. That's good. Need those queries. So again, it was, I don't know. I just put a broad. I just wanted to demonstrate what it could look like. I'm not quite. It's just I know that from the 2018 sort of design phase, it's not a large that's not particularly large, and it can fit in within the designation site quite easily. This is the sort of the how the skim how it could work, and you with backwash etc. where you use potable water to clean out the TSS. And again, it's sort of just looking at other examples of. I mean, there are other places where this is working in quite a similar manner to Raglan. I had to look up where some of these places were, but I know that now. So we're learning stuff here. So again, with a microfiltration or a membrane, the TSS is the main is its a purpose, but there's beneficial spin-offs as well with the lowering of the phosphorus and nitrogen as a components of organic compounds. Can remove BOD because of it's removing the algal particles that are composting. So increases the effectiveness of the UV. It stops masking any sort of viruses that may have been getting through otherwise. So that's one activity that's going to be kicking off soon. The second one is I just checked in with I've brought up the solar array the project that's happening at the ponds as well, and just checked in with the project sponsor and just understanding where things are at. Again, it's sort of with this, there was was just getting the supplies. There was a joint project happening. I mean, there's a project happening at Papakuta, and so it was a joint ordering of equipment that's happening there. Also, an amended sort of design was needed for the site because of the bogginess. So that's with PowerSmart that are doing that. Again, it's just demonstrating the benefits of the water care WDC relationship, being able to draw on things that are happening in the wider New Zealand that are best practice, and sits very well with Raglan and WDC's vision of environmental sustainability. With this is going to be the project is forecast to have an OPEX saving of 30k per annum, and it's going to have it's also going to have the emission reduction. It's going to meet the emission reduction. It's going to remove 30 tons of CO2 per annum as well. So really good news story, and it's going to be, the timing is soon. Just the view was to have it'll be in construction by the first quarter of next year. So again, updates coming through through this forum.
Stephen,
that was all I had today.
Stephen, is that 30 tonne of CO2 for Raglan alone, or across that joint project with Papakuta?
No, it's just for this. It's just for this site.
So 30 tonne per annum of avoided CO2. That's quite significant.
Yeah. Yep.
Thank you.
I don't have. Yeah. Again, real quick. So that's my presentation.
Maybe Haskell, if I may.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, cool. Just a couple things. Kurt and I, we've had some offline discussions a little bit around, I'm sorry, Stephen, around some thoughts around the biosolids and what we're going to be potentially doing with them out of the plant. So just to let everybody know, we're kind of thinking a little deeply about that and trying to maybe coordinate the disposal of biosolids away from landfill, and maybe trying to coordinate that with something that we're trying to start in Huntly, particularly around potential vermiculture and composting. So we're having some other discussions with WDC waste minimization folks around that. So we're just keeping those ideas floating around. So if we have an answer on one hand for a problem we have on another, we just want to keep those conversations swirling. And we know that Water Care has also been doing some investigation around composting and vermiculture. So So anyway, at some point we'll need to kind of feather in the biosolids disposal strategy for Raglan, which we haven't really come up with a solid strategy yet, other than going to landfill. So still some good ideas around that. So anyway, just some thoughts there. So keep everybody thinking about that. The other thing I was thinking of, Stephen, is that I got my golf club hat on now, and read the report. Let me go grab my golf club. So I read the report, and yeah, there's some limitations that we knew probably were coming there. One of the things that we kind of discussed is any potential for surface application. And that rolls back to the amount of treatment that we have back to the plant. And if we up the treatment capabilities in the plant where we're taking more nutrients out, and then maybe there's a way forward for utilizing the water if it's treated to a higher level back at the plant. So, and I know there's trade-offs on how much money and technology is involved in doing that, but I don't know if that scenario has been kind of worked back a little bit also, because like I said, the hesitancy at the club and whether we ever get there is that where we're getting too many nutrients, you know, and then we'd have to do a cut and carry, and that kind of soured, you know, some of that thought. So obviously there's still some good areas that we can hopefully potentially look at the club that would you know, take some of the reuse areas away, like you have in the report, which is great, but also maybe any last thoughts on any potential for surface application as we go forward there also. So anyway, just a couple of thoughts.
Just in respect to vermiculture, have you spoken to Michael Quinton at Mainoki in Kinlan?
Yeah, I was invited down. So I recently went down and had a half-day visit with those guys, and really cool. And they're willing to come into the communities just based on my initial discussions and invest. And they'll even take the CapEx off of the communities if they're able to set up as a potential. So I think that just with that offer alone needs to be investigated deeply, and we're taking the burden off council. And if we partner up with a private for-profit company that's doing some cool stuff, I think we need to continue those discussions. And they were even talking about setting up smaller satellite processing sites, even for as small as Raglan. And so I've mentioned that to Extreme Zero Waste because there could be some potential tie-ins with their composting and things like that. But yeah, great for a beginning of an idea for a place like Huntley. And this is what we'll be discussing with the working group that we're trying to form up there. So we can have a little pilot project potentially funded by Mainoki and start doing some food waste, potential biosolids and green waste, and getting some cool mixes together that worms like to munch on and do some trials. So yeah, it's out there.
Yeah, good.
That's really cool, Charlie. You can go by your own name tonight, not just Aaron's.
Thanks. Yeah, mark it down as Charlie Young then, whoever's taking the minutes. Okay, thanks.
There we go. Welcome, Mike. Any other? You're just in time for the wrap up. Any other questions or comments of Stephen? No.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So there we go. So Mike, I invite you to watch the recording once, once it's put up on the website. But if that's all, I'll bring us to a close tonight. Just before we end, I just wanted to acknowledge Bob McLeod, who's passed away, and I know he's not been part of this group, but boy, it must have been about the only thing he wasn't part of in Raglan, because he was a real stalwart for that community, and if I think councillors get a terrible hourly rate, well, he was at just as many meetings as I was, and he didn't get paid at all. So it's you know, his commitment is extraordinary to Raglan, and he will be very, very sorely missed by that community and actually the district in general, because his interest was much wider than Raglan alone. So I just wanted to put that on the record tonight, seeing his passing is quite recent. Ian, did you have any other final comments tonight, or are we happy to go find MasterChef at 7:30?
No, I was just really impressed with the 30 tons of CO2 being reduced. I think that's just a great story and a great great thing going on. So more of that, I think. First cab off the ranks early next year, as you say, but I think if we can do more of that, that's great in terms of a good thing for the community. So good.
Right. All right. Well, thank you, everybody. Appreciate that. Short and sweet. And that was an actual 10 minutes, Stephen, not a Stephen. So well done.
I didn't trick you. Yeah.
Good stuff. All right. Thanks, everybody.
Okay. All the best, everyone. Stay safe.
Yeah, try and be on time next time.
Good on you.
Thanks all.
Thanks, Stephen. Cheers.
Yep.